Just imagine, you get a phone call that fulfills all your wishes but not so easily as you are thinking. The film begins with a boy named Sid who used to like a girl in his school whose name was Angie. Sid's friend tells him that he should tell Angie. One day, while skating, he tries to push Angie towards him but the poor boy falls into a garbage can. When Angie comes to help him, it's as if he had forgotten to look at her. Angie hadn't come to this city. Sid asks her to go around the city. A naughty boy from a far-off school was looking at her. He also liked Angie. But Sid didn't have any problem with her. Angie asks for his phone number. But poor Sid didn't have a phone. His friend comes and says, actually, Sid had a phone before but he broke it in anger. Sid goes home and asks his mom for money for his birthday. But he wanted to take the phone from that money. His mom only gives him 30 euros. Then he goes to a hotel where he used to work after school. But when he came home late, his boss was scolding him a lot. When Sid asks him for money after work, his boss gives him 100 euros. Seeing this, Sid went crazy. But what did the poor boy know? That the money was fake. His boss was making fun of him. Later, Sid goes to a strange shop where he had gone to buy a phone. But the shopkeeper was showing him the phone for no reason. Because Sid only had 30 euros. Then he brings a strange box which had a phone in it. When he opens the box, smoke was coming out of it. There was a shiny red phone in it. That phone looked a little strange. It also had 2 horns. As soon as Sid sees that phone, he immediately gives money to the shopkeeper. But later it is found that the phone was not working. When Sid asks the shopkeeper for his money, the phone was working. And he also makes a picture of Sid. When the shopkeeper sees that the phone is working, he now wanted Sid to give him the phone back. He sees the working phone and tries to snatch the phone from Sid. But Sid ran away with the phone. There it is shown in the school that a girl was selected for a hair ad, who was a friend of Angie. Because her hair was very good. When Sid goes to her, and showing Angie his new phone, he was asking her for her phone number. Then the same girl, who was Angie's friend, makes a lot of fun of her. Then Sid's phone takes a picture of that girl. There in the lab, some boys were making fun of Sid's friend. On this, they had a fight with Sid. The teacher punishes everyone for this fight. Then in the lab, Sid's phone calls a girl himself. And she was that girl with hair, who was Angie's friend, who got the hair ad. She puts fire in that girl's hair. She didn't even know that her hair was on fire. She was just telling everyone why there is heat in the lab. Immediately, the girl's head is covered with a cloth, and the fire is put out. The principal calls that girl to his office. The one who put the fire, then she tells. I just got a call. And then, I don't know what I did, and what happened there. But the strange thing was, the principal also didn't say anything to her. And was talking to the fish sitting in his office. There, Sid was sitting at home, and was practicing to tell Angie about his feelings. Then, he gets a call. He himself calls Angie. Sid gets to know, when Angie says to him, hello Sid. Seeing this, Sid got scared. He says, I was just saying this. Sid goes to school and tells his friend, that my phone calls everyone by itself. Now, when these two were talking in the class, the teacher gets to know. He gives Sid a shock on his head, and asks a question. Sid didn't know the answer to this question. But then, on his phone, he himself started seeing the answer. The Sid's friend was also seeing this. He was very surprised to see this. The teacher saw his phone, and throws it out of Sid's hands. When Sid goes to pick up his phone after class, the phone was absolutely fine. Nothing had happened to him. His friend and Sid were both very surprised, that how did Sid know the answer to the question? The next morning, when Sid wakes up, the phone was wishing him a happy birthday. When Sid meets his friend, he tells him, that I don't know. I didn't even write my date of birth in this. So, how can it wish me a happy birthday? His friend says, that I can see something wrong in your phone. You should throw this phone away. Then Sid's friend says, if your phone forgives the punishment of fighting in our lab, then the phone listens to this. Suddenly, he gets a call, from the principal's assistant. She thinks Sid is the principal, and talks to him. In this way, he forgave his punishment. Then he orders food for himself. He also comes, Sid and his friend were very happy to see all this. On the other hand, the teacher who had thrown the phone in the school was sitting in the class and making fun of him. When Sid and his friend were sitting in the club, Sid's friend asks him for his phone. He says, "With the help of this phone, I want to bring my parents closer." Sid didn't want to give him the phone, but still he gives it. But as soon as his friend picks up the phone, it was switched off. He puts it in the water in anger and leaves. But when Sid picks up the phone, it was on again. In the morning, when he was talking to Angie in the school, a thief steals Angie's phone and runs away. Now these two walk on their skating board and try to catch the thief. Behind them, the same naughty boy and his group were also there, who liked Angie. But when the boy was driving, he gets a call. And his car hits the wall. Anyway, Sid and Angie got the phone. Later, Sid asks him to take him for dinner. But Angie says no to him, that he has to prepare for the history paper. Later, Sid meets his friend again, who tells him about the same naughty boy that he has met with an accident. Sid listens and says, "What happened? Is he alive? Is he dead?" Now Sid calls the history teacher and asks him all the questions. Then the group of naughty boys catches them and beats them up a lot. But then, that girl gets a call. But Sid stops him from picking up the phone, so that he doesn't get hurt again. After a while, a girl comes there, who says that Sid is going to make us copy today. After hearing this, the naughty boy leaves him. It also happens like this. Everyone was very happy to see the paper, because Sid had told everyone the questions of history. When she was eating food in the canteen, Angie tells Sid to sit with her. The naughty boy was very angry to see this. But suddenly, he gets a call on his phone. When he listens to the phone, he starts doing strange things as soon as he hears the phone. He takes off his clothes and dances. It was clear that Sid's phone was making him do everything. Sid's mom also gets trip tickets. This was also because of his phone. When he goes to his job, his boss misbehaves with him there. Sid doesn't say anything and leaves from there. But the rest of the work was done by his phone. He calls his boss himself. After which, the boss started doing disco by putting his head in hot oil. Now Sid takes the car of that naughty boy's dad, and takes Angie for a ride. On the way, the naughty boy, when he sees this, he gets to know that this car belongs to his dad. Sid took Angie for a movie. There, Angie gets to know that the car is not his. He is not rich. But Angie didn't care about this. When Sid tells him about his phone, he remembers that the phone was left in the car. When he goes to take the phone, there, the naughty boy and his friend were already there, who beat him a lot. And they both took the car and the phone. Sid comes back. So Angie cleans his wound. In the naughty boy's car, when Sid's phone rings, a boy picks it up. As soon as he picks up the phone, he jumps out of the moving car. Nothing happened to him at that time. But then, a truck comes and kills him. After which, the police arrested Sid and Angie. Because the naughty boy said that Sid controls people with his phone. And then, he makes them do wrong things. In the jail, when the police inspector was questioning Sid, he also gets a call. When he listens to the phone with a big smile, he leaves Sid very easily. And he had also returned his phone. Later, Sid gets the news of his boss that he put his head in the oil. Now Sid also realized how dangerous his phone is. He asks his phone, "Why are you doing this? Why do you harm people?" The phone replies, "I love you." Sid also tries to break that phone, but it does not break. Eventually, Sid threw it in a ditch. There, all the friends were gathered at Angie's house. They say that due to Sid's phone, very big problems are coming up. But Angie says to them, Sid is not at fault. I myself have seen that phone making numbers by itself. On the other hand, some people had brought his phone to Sid. They say that we have got it from the ditch. Now Sid also has his friend with him. They think how to get rid of this phone. Then Sid's phone calls Sid in the middle of the night. And says that my next victim will be Angie. Sid was now angry. He says to him, "You will not do anything like this." There, the phone rings at Angie's house. Everyone was scared. Then Angie's friend picks up the phone and starts shouting. But she was making fun of everyone. Angie's mom was on the phone who was telling her to turn off the gas. At the same time, a call comes on another friend's phone. She comes under the control of the phone and kills herself with a knife. The naughty boy had thrown boiling water on the girl standing in front of him. There, Angie's dog also starts biting the naughty boy's friend. That's when Sid and his friend reach there. So poor Angie was fighting with her own mom. That scoundrel makes Angie's mom unconscious. Angie says that everyone was killed. They now decide to break the phone in the machine. The naughty boy who was still in control of the phone blocks his way. Sid faces him. The rest of the people think of the password of the machine. That naughty boy was going to pick up the chainsaw and kill Sid. But in this use, he himself dies. They also think of the password of the machine. When they put the phone in the machine, the phone was shattered. But after a while, Sid comes back to his original state. Now these three take him to their school. As soon as they go there, the phone calls all the children at once. Angie tells everyone that no one will pick up the phone. But the principal comes there and puts his phone on a teacher's ear. Due to which she dies there. All the children were scared. But now thousands of people wanted to kill Sid and Angie. Then Sid gets an idea. He puts the phone in liquid nitrogen gas. But the principal, who was already in control of the phone, removes the phone. But Sid's friend takes the phone. There a boy puts the phone on Sid's friend's ear so that he also comes in control of the phone. But still he puts the phone in the tank. The phone froze. Sid's friend says that he had already put cotton in his ears. Sid hugs his friend and Angie also expresses her love to Sid. Soon they threw that tank into the sea in which the phone was. Do you still want to take such a phone to fulfill your wishes? Do tell in the comments. With this, the movie Hellphone ends here.